The pilot was already dying when she volunteered. The Korvath Sovereignty had assembled the largest war fleet in recorded galactic history, 800 warships, each carrying enough ordnance to reduce a planetary crust to slag. They hung in formation above humanity's industrial moon of Ganymede, like a constellation made of malice. The ultimatum had been simple: surrender Earth's manufacturing patents, dismantle every shipyard beyond Luna, accept tributary status. They'd given humanity 72 hours. Humanity's answer arrived in the 68th. A single fighter, designation Sparrow 7, civilian registry, no weapons hardpoints visible on any scanner. The Corvath fleet commanders watched it approach through the kill zone with something approaching confusion. Their targeting arrays locked on, then hesitated. This wasn't protocol. This wasn't even warfare. Identify yourself. The transmission was sharp, multilingual, broadcast on every frequency. The response came back clean, almost conversational. Lieutenant Asha Okafor, Earth Defense Volunteer Corps. I'm here to accept your challenge under Corvath Military Law, Title 7, Single Combat Resolution for Disputed Territorial Claims. Silence flooded the command frequencies. Title 7 hadn't been invoked in 4 centuries. It was a relic, a ceremonial holdover from the sovereignty's imperial past. One pilot against one pilot. Winner takes the claim. But no one used it anymore. No one was that insane. You send one fighter against 800 warships and cite ancient law. The Corvath war leader's voice carried disbelief, almost offense. I send one pilot who read your laws more carefully than you did, Okafor replied. You declared formal territorial challenge. I'm accepting under your own legal framework. Refuse. And every neutral council from here to the rim witnesses the sovereignty break its own founding codes. The trap was elegant, simple. Humanity had spent 72 hours not building weapons, but weaponizing bureaucracy. If the Corvath refused, they'd shatter the legal framework that held their client states in line. If they accepted, they'd fight one-on-one. The sovereignty's honor culture, its entire justification for expansion, hung on adherence to ancestral law. The Corvath chose a champion, their finest ace, flying a strike craft that had killed in 40 systems. The arena was set, a cubic kilometer of empty space, boundaries marked by automated beacons. Well, what the Corvath didn't know, what they couldn't know, because humanity hadn't told them, was that Asha Okafor had stage 4 neurological cascade, terminal, 6 weeks left, maybe 8. She'd been grounded 3 months prior, her motor cortex deteriorating, her hands beginning to shake during atmospheric flight. But in zero-gravity combat, with a neural interface compensating for muscle failure, with nothing left to lose and everything to prove, she was still the best humanity had ever produced. The fight lasted 90 seconds. Okafor didn't fly like someone preserving a future. She flew like physics was optional and death was negotiable. Maneuvers that would have torn a healthy pilot's brain apart, turns that collapsed blood vessels, sustained G-forces that cracked her ribs against the harness. The Corvath champion was skilled, decorated, though experienced. Asha Okafor was dying, and she'd decided dying meant freedom. Her craft moved like a thrown knife. The Corvath fighter tried to counter, tried to predict, tried to survive. It couldn't. She didn't outgun him. Sparrow 7 had no guns. She outmaneuvered him until his own weapon systems lost lock, until his craft's automated safeties overrode his commands, until she forced him into a spin his stabilizers couldn't correct. His ejection pod deployed clean. The fight was over. 800 warships hung silent in formation, bound by their own laws, watching a single human fighter coast through the arena boundary. Asha's breathing was shallow on the open channel, wet with blood from something ruptured inside. Her hands had stopped responding entirely. The neural interface was doing all the work now, the reading intent directly from her failing brain. Title 7 resolution confirmed, she transmitted, voice steady despite everything breaking inside her. Territorial claim denied. Ganymede remains sovereign Earth territory. Korvath Sovereignty will withdraw beyond the asteroid belt within 48 hours, per your own legal code, subsection 9. She didn't wait for acknowledgement. Sparrow 7 turned, slow and precise, back toward Ganymede's distant lights. She made it halfway before the cockpit systems registered critical medical failure. The fighter drifted, silent, while Earth dispatched recovery craft. Asha Okafor died in hospital 3 days later, never regaining consciousness. The Corvath fleet withdrew in full, their honor law satisfied. Then their invasion stopped cold by a legal mechanism they'd forgotten existed, and a pilot who'd traded her last weeks for her species' sovereignty. Earth didn't build statues. They built something stranger, a preservation law. Every military academy in human space now teaches Title 7 case law. Every terminal patient who wants to fly gets cleared for 0G certification. And every negotiation humanity enters begins with a simple question, whispered in diplomatic chambers and echoed in war rooms across a dozen species. Have you actually read your own rules? Because humanity learned something the Korvath Sovereignty never expected. Sometimes the most dangerous weapon isn't the one that can destroy a fleet. It's the one willing to die reading the fine print. The name Asha Okafor appears in 7 languages now, one in court records and treaty databases, in law libraries and flight academies, not as a warrior, as precedent. And precedent, humanity discovered, bleeds slower than soldiers, but it lasts so much longer.